Shalom, shalom. Giving all glory and praise and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakudash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of the great millstone which rule well. Peace and much love, honors and blessings, salutations to the elect of Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai. We're told their conduct, composure, and integrity, standing and believing, holding fast the true and only name of the Heavenly Father, who the world ignorantly called God. But the true name and the proper name is Yahweh, and his name is one. So it is Yahweh. All right. And also, again, salutations to the elect. All right, for holding to the proper name of who the world ignorantly called Jesus Christ. And that's why we say who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, because you do not know that that is not the name. And so we at Great Millstone in particular, because we focus on the names. We focus on the name of Yahweh, and we focus on the name of his son. And his son's name is Yahushai, not Jesus Christ. All right, Yahweh and Yahushai are the names. All right, and call Elohim Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. So as you can see on the title and lesson, we will keep warning you of the end. All right, or we will keep warning of the end. And really just kind of more about how this message, that we speak and teach, which is through the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, through the Holy Spirit of understanding. This is the word that was given to us to go and preach to the whole world. All right? And, the world that we really focus on, all right, because you have something called the cosmos, which is talking about a specific or a particular part, mainly speaking about the nation of Israel. When you go into John 3:16, all right, it says that for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son, that whosoever should believe on him should not be condemned, right? It said that the God loved the world, right? But when you break that word down, it's not talking about the whole world. All right, the word world goes into, if it would have been talking about everybody on the planet, all right, let's just get this straight real quick. John 3:16 says that for God so loved the world. And everybody believes today that that's talking about everybody, every nation, every ethnicity, right? But that's wrong. If you go into that word world, it will break itself down to a Greek word meaning cosmos. And we already know that the word cosmos, is, as I just gave you the definition, is a specific or particular part, a specific aggregate or of an assembly, which is literally directing about specific people or a specific nation. It's not talking about everybody. If it was talking about everybody, the word that you would see behind that word world, going back to the Greek, it would have been oikomene. All right? That's what it would have been, oikomene. Oikomene is talking about all the inhabitants of the world. But that's not what Yahweh and Yahushai were talking about. That's not what Yahushai was speaking about. All right? It's talking about one nation under God, right? No, wordplay. But it is one nation under Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, and that's the nation of Israel, the so-called blacks, Latinos, Native American Indians. Okay? So, that's the world that we focus on when we speak this message, to warn about an end. An end to what? An end of a reign and a rule. An end of an age. This is the thing, when you don't look up scriptures, when you don't study the word, and you read verbatim what it says, you're going to believe it's talking, the Lord, who the world called God, is coming to destroy the earth. No, it's not talking about that. It's talking about the end of an empire, a rulership. That's why when it says in, Matthew 24, heaven and earth shall pass away, but my word shall abide forever. That is talking about, I believe, eon, if I'm not mistaken. All right? Which is talking about a different age, okay? A different time of ruling. So you got an age of the Edomites right now. They're ruling, okay? They are the ones that are ruling the earth. The scriptures tell you, Job 9:24, that the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. And we have diligently searched and found out by the Spirit of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai that Esau, the so-called white man, is the wicked. So it says the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. All right? So i.e., we are in the time of Esau. We're in the age of Esau and him ruling. But like the Lord said, heaven and earth shall pass away, because to be honest, the Lord never meant for Esau to rule forever. That was never prescribed or set up. Esau is not a noble individual. Scriptures say that he's the basis of all men. All right, he is the basis of all men, and that means that there's nothing. What do you call it? He's profane. All right, he's outside the temple, and that's why it tells you that Esau is, at least there be any fornicator as profane as Esau. Anything that comes out of Esau cannot shape refinement. Okay, and so that's why the Lord, again, like I said, the Lord never intended for Esau to be a ruler. In fact, the scriptures will tell you that Esau set up kings, but not by the Lord. All right, and we understand, we know the white man's history, something that Trump is trying to do away with, the history of Esau. Anything that makes the so-called white man look bad, the main thing being slavery. Okay, so, but the Lord never intended for this man to be a constant ruler. He can't. He's not an upright minister, pursuant to Wisdom of Solomon, the 6th chapter. Okay. And so, this devil's been tried. All other nations have been given a time to see if they can rule right, and none of them have. Okay? The ones that were meant to rule and reign forever in righteousness were you so-called blacks, Latino, Native American Indians. All right? But we understand things happened. We went off. The Lord punished us. That's why we're serving slavery under the most cruel man on the planet, which is the so-called white man. All right? But so, we're telling you, the men, the prophets, the men of the Lord, we've been telling you now for, started with the apostles for decades. A decade is, 10 years. So they've been coming out since the 90s. Okay. But the truth has, been coming out since 1969, starting with Elder Abba Bivens. Okay. But nevertheless, this truth has been coming out for decades. And the same message has been getting spoken every single time. One of my favorite precepts that I always like to use to back that up about how this truth has been constantly spoken the same way is, let me go to get it. I flip to it. This is Isaiah. All right, hold on, wrong book. Hold up. This is Isaiah. Jeez, hold on. This is Isaiah 28 and 13. Because, like I said, the title of the lesson is that we will keep warning you of the end. There's no, us, the prophets, man. Lord willing, I'm part of that number in the elect. We've read these scriptures, we've watched lessons, we've learned, we go through the scriptures, man. We meditate on this thing daily, and it's funny how you people will still have an argument of you don't know what you're talking about. But it's funny because even AI acknowledges that Great Millstone is very, very knowledgeable in the scriptures. So that's agreement that we know what we're talking about. So, but when we read these scriptures, there ain't no message talking about, a prolong into the kingdom, or or the Lord repenting of what he's going to do here. It keeps on telling you that woes are on its way. Lamentations and mournings and destruction is on its way. It actually, in fact, it tells you that in 2nd Esdras 16, it says, 2nd Esdras 15, woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for their destruction draweth nigh. It hasn't been a new printout version of the Bible. All right, this is hot, just in, printed fresh off the press. New revealing information. Yahweh Shema Shai has changed his course. All right, he's not going to destroy America. He's going to keep it. Ain't none of that coming out. Okay. But so we keep on, every day these lessons that come out from the men of the Lord of Great Millstone, which is, a majority where the elect are going to abide at. We believe that. You look at these other camps, IUIC, GOCC, Wi-Fi, One Body, Sakari, HODC, ISUPK, all these other groups, man, they ain't speaking this truth, okay? And if you listen to their message, you can tell that there's a worldly vibration tethered to it. They trying to tie in the world with doctrine and trying to keep you here. Man, what's coming? We ain't afraid to tell you that you're going off and that you're going to be dealt with by the Lord. All right? Because that's the truth. The Lord is not a respecter of persons. And if you don't get right before he returns, well, then you're going to get dealt with. All right? Man, it's a blurry ass phone. All right? Seems to be good. So anyways, but we've been telling you this every day. The word of the Lord has been preached to you, broken down. We've given you that the purpose of Yahweh Shem Yahshai is. So this is, again, my favorite precept to use, Isaiah 28 and 13. It says, but hear me. But the reason why I'm bringing this out is because that's the point. But the word of the Lord was unto them precept upon precept, precept upon precept, line upon line, line upon line. Here and crannies of the scriptures to investigate and have revealed to us. Okay? And this is the word that was spoken to us. This is the message that is being brought to the men of the Lord and that are being commanded to go out and to speak. Nothing will change. You got, I can't remember what type of flowers those are called. But, does that mean that the world is good? No. The whole world, the scriptures tell you that the earth is defiled under the inhabitants thereof. And that goes into Esau ruling wickedly. All right? But then it passes on down to you people as well, because the scriptures do say that as the king is, so are the people. All right? And so this world is polluted. This world is defiled. It is disgusting. Our brother even broke that down yesterday in Isaiah the 24th chapter, how the earth is defiled under the inhabitants thereof. And the brother went into the word defiled and how right there particularly it meant it was referring or using that uncleanness as a woman's menstrual cloth. And we already know, man, look, that shit smells like a motherfucker, man. A lot of us men, we have, sisters and whatever, or you just were around your woman, man, and you smelled that shit before, like my parents would make me take out the trash and shit, man, and I'd have to clean out all the trash cans, and not trying to be all weird about it, but that's, we know what that shit smells like, man, and not intentionally. It smells gross. It smells disgusting. It's gross. That's how the Lord refers to this place. People have been, I can't remember what the word is, man, but basically you've been, softened or not as understanding or of severe things. I can't remember what you call it, man. It's like, like today, like adultery. Adultery is one of the most serious crimes you can commit on this planet. In fact, even the brother went into that yesterday during their live. Adultery is responsible for a lot of bloodshed and strife reigning throughout the earth. All right? But today, because Esau is taught and given the woman this so-called power to be a hoe and not receive, not get her ass beat or stoned or thrown in prison for for sleeping with another man. Now you're more soft to the blow, so to speak, when you think about another man and a woman being with each other when they already had another relationship. And that's how it is today in this earth. Okay? You don't really understand the grossness and disgustingness behind a woman in her time, her time of uncleanness. That's extremely disgusting. And the Lord has likened this place like that. Okay? So like I said, why should the Lord speak anything well about this place when all it brings is defiled behavior? All right, like the brother went into, man, like homosexuality is promoted in this time. It's applauded. You know, in fact, you can speak about it on a video like this and you risk your video getting shut down. That's defiled, man. That's unclean. So, you know, that little example in what I'm just speaking about, you know, why would, when all America produces is wicked shit, wicked behavior. You know, the woman is way the fuck out of order. You men desensitized. That's what the word was. You've been desensitized. You men are fucking effeminate, weak, emotional pussies, man. Like, serious. You men are fucking weak today. It is hilariously, ridiculously out of order. You men are weak. The children are fucking bastards. The house is out of order and broken. Yeah, you got the so-called white man to blame for it too. But at the same time, you think you're such a goddamn man or a real woman, but you can't keep your house in order. Everything is fucked up in this time. So again, why change the message? Why tell you, oh, the Lord is not going to end anything? You know, we messed up. When everything that comes from you people, the way that you behave is disorderly. That's why I said that regardless, man, we're going to keep on speaking this word to you, man. You know, how long shall the word, how long shall this word be in the mouth of the prophets? All right. Hold on. It's too hot. Hold on. All right. My phone was overheating. All right. But yeah, again, you know, it's like my train of thought was escaped. My phone said it was overheating. This lesson's too hot. It's too fire. Like I was saying, why should the message change? Why should we? Why, you know? But that's another thing. It's not going to change. Yahweh Shemiah Shai intends for this place. You know, the scriptures tell you that the Lord has a determination against the prey. The prey being you other nations. But the main prey is the so-called white man. Okay? He's been caught. He's been found that he's been coming against the Lord. You 2/3, man, you've been caught too. Everybody's in need of a good ass whooping, and the Lord's about to bring it. That's why he ain't going to change up what he's going to bring. All right? Judgment is going to come to this place. I know the scriptures talk about, you know, let righteousness rain down from the heaven. The Lord is literally going to rain down righteousness. All right? And that's going to be, you know, via the nuclear missiles. Okay? So, I mean, we're going to keep on speaking this message no matter what. We've already said from time to time, we don't care how you feel about it. The funny thing is we never cared. I mean, we want this. Us men, you know, of the house of faith, the true house of faith of Yahweh Shemiah Shai, we want this world to come and end. We want this empire to come to a halt. We want the so-called white man to be destroyed. All right? We want you wicked ass Israelites to be dealt with. Well, you fucking turn. Goddamn. All right? But we want the end to come. Because we know that this is not where we want to live, man. This place is terrible. Constantly worn out. My body ain't even get full rest and I'm up. You know, what could it mean? I'm constantly worn out and tired. This place is terrible, man. So, like I said, we want this place to end, man. We've experienced this life enough to where we can agree with Yahweh Shemiah Shai that this place does need to be destroyed. All right? And that's the beautiful thing about experience. Okay? That's the beautiful thing about the Lord giving the men of the Lord experience. So that that the men that the Lord has chosen to represent and stand on the behalf and defend him too can also go back and be like to the world, nah, Yahweh's right. Yahweh's right. This place is fucking wicked. It needs to be dealt with. All right? So, at the end of the day, Yahweh Shemiah Shai is about to come and destroy this place. And we want it to happen. We're just waiting for Esau to make his move. Esau's being a punk ass right now because he knows when he makes his move, that's it. he better, he's got to put all his chips into this one play. So, yeah, man, just something I want to talk about. That's it. The end is near. All right, even what is that? Ezekiel, the 7th chapter. The end has come. An end has come, and only an end has come. All right, so nothing else we can do about it, nor do we want to do it. The scriptures say Babylon would have been healed, but we ain't trying to heal this place. We want the fuck out of here, man. We want a place where our Maker stands behind and promotes as a righteous dwelling, and that's the kingdom of heaven, the kingdom of Yasha Allah. All right, for you so-called blacks, Latino, Native American Indians, which is going to be ruled in righteousness. So, yeah, until then, we're going to keep on speaking about the end. All right, so, with that, Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. I want to give all glory, praise, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, which rule well. Peace and much love, honors and blessings to the elect of Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, which hold their kind of composure and integrity. All right, till the next one, I do say Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Barakatam. Kwame Shalom, Shalom, with the water opportunity, and Shalom.